On Monday night, it was reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to sign veteran wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the practice squad. The report came from multiple outlets, including ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, but 2 days later there is still no signing, which has created a bit of a mystery. On Wednesday, Aaron Rodgers was asked about the possibility of reuniting with his former Green Bay Packers teammate and went on to explain why MVS hasn't inked with the Steelers yet, and it has to do with the wideout's desire to be on the 53-man roster rather than the practice squad. "I love MVS," Rodgers said, per ESPN's Brooke Pryor. "I think MVS wants to be on an active roster, so if there wasn't an opportunity here for that, then I guess he's waiting for something else." This is the second time MVS has flirted with signing in Pittsburgh. He previously had the option to go to the Steelers in August, but opted to sign with the San Francisco 49ers instead, which didn't end up panning out. While the Steelers do need more help at wide receiver, the team needs to do more than sign MVS, who doesn't figure to move the needle all that much. After all, the veteran wideout has been on a steady decline for years now. He initially signed with the wide receiver-needy Seattle Seahawks in the offseason but couldn't make the team's 53-man roster. He's a welcomed addition as a potential depth piece that can stretch the field, but he won't come close to filling the WR2 void the Steelers have. The Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the deepest tight end rooms in the NFL this season. That depth has enabled the Steelers to use different formations to both run and pass in jumbo packages. But there is a downside to having more tight ends. It's more mouths to feed, and the team's number one tight end, Pat Freiermuth, isn't playing as much. Through the first 7 weeks of the 2025 NFL season, Freiermuth is playing significantly less. He's lined up for 49% of the team's offensive snaps. That's down from the 69% of snaps he played on offense last year. Even as a rookie, Freiermuth lined up for 62% of Pittsburgh's offensive snaps in 2021. Before 2025, he's been on the field for at least that amount every year since then. But if the reduction in playing time bothers Freiermuth, he hasn't shown it. The veteran tight end continued to preach his team-first attitude while speaking in an exclusive interview with Heavy Sports this week. "I think having the right mentality, being a selfless player, being able to understand, it's all about the win column. But as I've said, my time's going to come, and obviously it came against Cincinnati," said Freiermuth on Tuesday. "It's going to continue to do that throughout the season. So you can look at it from game to game, and people can create narratives and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's all about winning, and so anytime I can help contribute to team success, I'm all for it." Pat Freiermuth fitting into Steelers' 2025 TE plan. Freiermuth is still a dangerous pass catcher when the Steelers use him as a route runner. As the tight end indicated, his opportunity came against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 7. Although it came in a losing effort, Freiermuth posted 5 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. His second score gave the Steelers the lead late in the fourth quarter. But the team's offense has deployed tight ends Jonas Smith and Darnell Washington for more snaps overall this season. Although that's surprising given Freiermuth's previous success, it's been an effective strategy. Washington gives the Steelers additional size to establish a running game. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has also used Spencer Anderson as a 6th offensive lineman for extra run protection. "We have a lot of talent. Being able to execute the game plan that the coaches want us to attack the defense and their weaknesses, we're able to get into heavy 12 and use Spencer as an extra offensive lineman with Darnell. That's 1,000 pounds on that side of the ball," said Freiermuth. Anderson's snap count increased significantly beginning in Week 4. Since then, the Steelers have averaged about 118 rushing yards per game. How much does Darnell Washington weigh? Washington has become an effective run blocker for the Steelers because of his 6'7" frame. The team lists Washington at 264 pounds, but it's widely accepted that's a vast underestimation of what he actually weighs. Freiermuth kept Washington's actually weight a mystery in his interview with Heavy Sports. "I do have a clue, but I'm not going to comment on it," Freiermuth said while chuckling. "What is listed on the team's website is not accurate, but I'm not going to get specific." Interestingly, the Steelers list Freiermuth at 258 pounds. That just confirms Washington's weight is significantly more than 264 pounds. "Yes, on the official team website, I'm only 8 pounds lighter," Freiermuth said while continuing to smile. I think when we stand next to each other, it's easy to tell that's not accurate. Steelers' Pat Freiermuth calling for blood drive donations. Freiermuth takes a team approach off the field as well. This fall, he's joined the battle against blood shortages in the United States. The global health leader Abbott and the Big Ten Conference established the We Give Blood Drive, which is now in its second season. The blood drive is a competition among all 18 Big Ten schools. Freiermuth is asking for Big Ten students, faculty, and alumni to donate blood for their school. He is especially pushing for Penn State students and alumni to make donations. Freiermuth played for the Nittany Lions from 2018 to 20. The Big Ten school that donates the most blood will receive $1 million from Abbott to advance student and community health initiatives. The conference will announce the winning school at the Big Ten championship game on December 6th. It's super big because there's a blood shortage, Freiermuth said. Every 2 seconds in the United States, people need blood. So this is obviously important. With the blood shortage, I'm encouraging people to donate blood. Donations will be accepted through December 5th. To sign up to donate blood for a particular school, visit big10.org/Abbott. The NFL's trade deadline is just 5 days away, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are very much a buyer as they look to plug holes on the roster and get back to playing good football. The Steelers under GM Omar Khan already added veteran safety Kyle Duggar from the New England Patriots, and they've been connected to just about every wide receiver on the trade market, especially the Las Vegas Raiders' Jacoby Myers. But there could be one player on the Raiders who isn't talked about as truly on the market and could be a logical Steelers target. For Pro Football Focus, that player is second-year offensive lineman Jackson Powers-Johnson. With veteran guard Isaac Seumalo banged up, and Pittsburgh having invested in its offensive line heavily in recent years while also showing a ton of interest in Powers-Johnson coming out Oregon, a trade for the young offensive lineman could make some sense. The Raiders could be a logical trade partner. The previous regime spent a 2024 second-round pick on interior lineman Jackson Powers-Johnson, but he appeared to be benched during Las Vegas Week 7 matchup against the Chiefs. PFF's Josh Liskiewicz writes of a possible Steelers-Raiders trade. While primarily a center at Oregon, Powers-Johnson has already logged more than 300 snaps at each of the interior positions during his time as a pro. Though Seumalo isn't expected to be out long even if he doesn't play Sunday, and Spencer Anderson more than earning a chance as the starter once again in place of Seumalo, you can never have enough offensive linemen. With the work the Steelers did on Powers-Johnson leading up to the 2024 NFL Draft and the versatility he brings, it could make some sense depending on cost. He was a second-round pick, but the Raiders have since brought in a new front office and coaching staff, which has led to some tough times for Powers-Johnson. Against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 7, Powers-Johnson played just 25 snaps, allowed 2 pressures and a sack, and was replaced by Alex Kappa. The Raiders were on a bye in Week 8, so we'll see if Powers-Johnson is benched for good. If he has been, that could make him available ahead of Tuesday's deadline. The Steelers could be a fit. They hosted Powers-Johnson for a pre-draft visit. They also met with him at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, and Steelers offensive line coach Pat Meyer traveled to Eugene, Oregon, for the Ducks Pro Day. At the NFL Combine, Steelers assistant offensive line coach Isaac Williams put Powers-Johnson through drills, too. But then, he went a few picks ahead of the Steelers in the second round, leading to Pittsburgh drafting Zach Frazier out of West Virginia. Though Powers-Johnson was primarily a center coming out of college, he's played 506 snaps at left guard, 421 snaps at center, and 298 snaps at right guard in his young NFL career, according to PFF. That versatility could make him an intriguing option. Would the Steelers be interested? It's hard to rule out due to the work they did previously, but the interior seems set moving forward with Frazier, Mason McCormick, and the emergence of Anderson. But you can never have enough bodies. If the Raiders are benching him and might be interested in moving on, it wouldn't be at all surprising to see the Steelers show interest.